management report I'm in Saka are the receivables. Ever has a crame FIFA World Cup share a Rodan lad as I saying $200,000, 207.57, and normal converted to 2.2. Betika outstanding sponsorship 493,000. ZPay outstanding sponsorship 150. Star Life sponsorship.
This is 3Sports.
Player transfer fees 400,000 by 4.4. So total receivables as it is now 9,107. That and you scared that in your and liabilities and so hotel accommodation 664,000 something. CEO's advance 259,750. Loan from James Joseph Brown 200 and something. Salaries and wages 1,400,000 and something. Outstanding player transfer fees 320. Player salary advances so and so. Sudan CL travel cost haven't traveled. And other liabilities. The total debt here 3,533,424. This is what we have to clear now before say we'll be a grabber starting or starting. This is what it more yet did na Monyani assembly yen the man can say yes I for na sako ye bibia. Says 3,533,000. The air say receivables no there. In your 5 at the end yaka say ye de my Betika outstanding sponsorship no yenyan yes or someone ye when you negotiate answer say baba. Oh and a Star Life sponsorship ni nyina ye say o say akwohwe ne say wo ho a yetimi ehunu say baba. Player transfer fee eda no muka say obi na ye transfer no na yenwie wo mote say board na gunti asa ejai eti no so wo de ka ye unhunu say ba je say mu wi answer. Eti so ka bo mu ampa say ni nyina e ba dey 9.7 but question mark onye year ewie but debt wo hotel ne players salaries and wages ni nyina 3 say 2 months asaba kamba June abaka June and July abaka ho then so cost so we have this debt to clear and sana agwazi player recruitment and so ewo ho sesia I was here hunu kwen de be fa so minim so coach kura wo ho a ene wo na abaka chem de menye me wo has say mebusa memo abaka chem sesia na ya pebi sesia na o mehwe Kasa ni nyina says the players yes here top yet kasa tentente ye hunu ba bia players nafa I was here timi nya bi na nature ya.
You heard that from Otufo Nana say to say Kasane Dorso Kumasi Asante Kotoko fans. He says you should take your time and then everything will be fine. But there's been a few appointments though. The major one is that Kwesiapia has been tasked to take care of the technical team and appoint a new technical team for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That was done at Menchia. And also yesterday, the Otufo himself was at Adakojache to check out progress of work on the training facility. So Kumasi Asante Kotoko making a little progress just in the off season. It's not huge progress, but you know they're starting in the right place, and so things are beginning to shape up. Let me bring my panelists in the studio this evening into the conversation. Aniela Alote, Ore Kwampofo, Kelvin Uswansa, and we have another guest here, Joel Botte. You guys are welcome to Sports Ultras this evening.
I'm not going to take the because Declan Powell Rice was not really doing anything good. You know, yesterday I was expecting us to overcome United, but to lose twice in one game, which level?
Yeah.
You know, last year we lost a game. Come on, we are gearing up for the season.
We'll come back to that. Oreko, how are you feeling?
Rico Jackson.
I'm in buoyant mood, as you can tell. Yeah, looking all fly.
Yeah, new haircut.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend.
I see that. Kelvin, how you doing?
I did form. Yeah, yesterday night was a very good one to enjoy the weekend. Yeah. Why? When I do, I come a better as now.
Joe, it's your first time on the show. How are you feeling?
Today I'm ready for whatever action you have. To be honest, Jackson is here to stay though.
Nice one. We'll see how that goes. But let's begin the conversation. I would also bring you into the conversation, our listeners and our viewers also on Facebook. You can watch us on 3FM 92.7 on Facebook, and also 3Sports GH also on Facebook. Just make sure that you are getting in there, bringing in your comments as we are doing this show. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Thierry Nyan. He's somewhere enjoying himself, and he's asked me to sit in the seats today and present the show to you. But let's begin. And Kelvin, let me start with you on Kumasi Asante Kotoko. What are the problems? We've heard Otunfo outline some of the problems. Many of it's money, but beyond the money, what can Kotoko do now to get themselves back in that position that they think of themselves?
Well, thank you. I think it is very simple. It is only one thing: structures. Just put down structures, and then the team will flourish. And in the last couple of years, anytime that we see a leadership put down structures, it makes it easier to work with. If you cast your mind back to when we were very young, Herbert Mensah came in. He had structures. He had people who were working for him when it comes to marketing, publicity, and all of this. Dr. KK Sapon did likewise, and it worked for him with all the big guys he had in his management. Imagine having Dr. Patrick Ofori, Dr. Kwame Beniakon. These were very top football people that you could have in your folds. And just recently, Nana Wamponsa, with the progress that he made, this was out of just the management he brought on himself after he was appointed as CEO, and he didn't even have full command and control of the team, all because he had to always report to a board, and then he did not have the only say to things. So I think if they realize, or they go back to the last 3 years or the last 2 years and realize what Nana Ponsa did with the people he had in there, where structures were properly working for Asante Kotoko, if the team goes back to that particular way or model of being run, they are going to enjoy huge success. And I think you listen to the voice, and he even was appreciative of the fact that the team has receivables that may come in later. Their obligations, but you cannot trust that they would come in. But once they come in, or they hope that it comes in, they would be able to absolve the debt that they have incurred. And I think it's very impressive. Now, one thing is, Kotoko needs a lot of money to get back to the highest pedestal. You look at all the top sites in Africa, and it's all about investment. Al Ahly are running over $100 million in a season to run their team. Even the lowest on the African continent, the likes of Simba and the likes, are doing around 25 million, 30 million, 15 million, 10 million. Ask yourself, what is the budget for Kotoko? Nana Amponsa was even asking for $1.5 million, and he was going to make Asante Kotoko big again. But you ask yourself, does Kotoko have that? But if you have the structures, it will be impressive for you to appreciate and even have the numbers that you want. In recent times, the Fabu census, because of its structure well laid, it's been able to get Kotoko a lot of money. And then I'm concerned, we had Otu for talking about the sponsorship, ZPay, what, and all others. They are all sponsorship money that is coming in, and it's not coming from anywhere. And this is a point where I think that His Royal Majesty, after listening to the supporters, unless the supporters, by virtue of this opportunity given to them by the king, did not really sell the difficulties of the club to the king and the owner of the club. And I'm very sure that Nana, in his own wisdom, will listen to the advice of Kwesi Appiah when it comes to running proper football. That when it comes to the technical side, you'll get to know that, yes, I need this, these are the structures that we need. And that is the reason why he taught the Adakojachi. I think it was under the influence of Kwesi Appiah for him to go there, look at the facilities, and then understand why he may want extra facilities and even get extra men on board. If Kotoko decides to run professionally, I'm sure we are going to see something better and greater than what they have seen in the last couple of years. Kotoko's problem is one, and it evolves around every human institution. It's envy and parochial interest of single individuals. And once it happens, they would want to get into the management or the current administration or the present administration. But once they are not allowed in there to have their own way to champion their interests, it becomes difficult, and the backbiting starts. Let's go to Menchia, and then let's tell Otumfuo, let's get into some fans, football fans, to make noise. It happened, Seidu sacking the Kotoko coach. Even recent time, with all what Nana Amponsa has achieved, we saw some fans and even some top people in there detesting what they had. And the bickering is not going to stop. Our own Kwekwa Henkra, the last time who spoke here, former Kotoko management member, made mention of how difficult it was for them that someone even from Menchia, who is supposed to be a royal and champion the cause of Kotoko, was trying to sabotage them. What do you get when this club is sabotaged? And I think it's a problem in our part of the world, you know. We even speak about the Black Stars and people think that, yes, you are trying to be negative and you don't want the good of the Black Stars. And I think we should just go beyond it. If you have structures and the structures are well working for you, nobody will come and tell you anything. You just go to your administrative manager. This is going wrong, and you can really audit and then proffer more solutions to it. If you go to your finance head and you think that, no, you are mismanaging my account, there are documents that exist. For the first time in the history of Asante Kotoko since I grew up, this is the only time the Ken has really admitted to having a document where he could really have an audited account there. And I'm sure that going forward, he will get to know. That is the only problem of Asante Kotoko. Just put structures in place and you are good to go. And we've seen that. Look at Right to Dream Academy. It's structures that is working. Wafa or Final Academy enjoyed successes because they had proper structures. Gone are the days when football was done just based on instinct and that. Now you need to plan. And if you plan and your preparation meets the opportunity, it results in success. Al Ali are not enjoying all this glory because they just instinctively get to that level. No. It's well planned. Hopefully they go forward and then they enjoy such benefits. And I think His Royal Majesty knows the wisest decision to make.
Well, I mean, within all of the reports, I think the main thing that struck me was that 500,000 they were going to get from FIFA. I mean, Oriku, let me bring you into this. How crucial would that money be for a club like Kotoko, looking at how they've audited their accounts, knowing how much they have to pay off, and then going into another season with, you know, quite a hefty amount like $500,000.
500,000 I don't think is enough, especially for a club like Asante Kotoko and where they should be. And I say this because, you know, a club is an investment. When you're putting your money in, you expect to get it somewhere. And, you know, Calvin mentioned all of these clubs who are doing well, and the key to them is that they have a fan base that no matter what, they turn up for the club. Now, before I come to the money part, I think for a while now, the fans have also played a role in the downfall of Kotoko. I don't think throughout this country I've seen fans who sort of, you know, quote unquote, flex their club like, you know, the Kotoko faithful. When I had the privilege of going to Kumasi, I think Kotoko played around that time where I spoke to some of the fans and, you know, the students and all that. And they were saying that, you know, people don't go to the stadium anymore because the team just isn't playing well and they're not winning, which is fair. But are you really a fan if you only go when your team is doing well? You see a lot of passion from these fans, you know, on social media. If you were to follow numbers on social media, you would think Asante Kotoko have, you know, the most passionate set of ultras in Ghana. You know, a very strong fan base who are very loud, want their voice to be heard and all that. But when you get onto the pitch, you don't see that. You don't see fans going for games. You don't see them, you know, fighting for this club, standing for what's right. Everything just happens online, which I think is not enough because the fundamental success of each team has to do with your fan base. You look at Ahli, all of these teams doing well in Africa, they are getting a significant amount of money from the fans and what they bring in terms of gate fees. Just recently, you look at, you know, the Tanzanian league, you're looking at their top teams and the financials that they put out there, they're making millions of dollars from their fans throughout the whole season. Kotoko are struggling to get, 5,000 fans at a 40,000 capacity stadium. That is the fundamental issue. For me, I think everything starts from there because a club is soulless without its club, without its fans. And that's what really needs addressing. You know, you can maybe it's sort of like a domino effect of poor decisions that have been taken with regards to organization and how funds should be allocated and all that. But it's a good starting point for Tumfor, the management members, and the technical team to sit down and really ask themselves, what are we doing wrong? Because if the Black Stars in this state can still go to Kumasi and pull a 40,000 crowd against Angola, not even a top side, then it should tell you that there is interest in football when it comes to the people of Kumasi. And I did a story on that. They said they love their football. They believe football started, that's where real football is played in Ghana. And they claim they're passionate, they love it. So how come the number one club in the region is struggling to get funds? And I think that's what they really need to address, because the $500,000, it might be enough for this season, but long term, when Kotoko starts to qualify for Africa and they have to travel outside the country, would it be sustainable? And so, I mean, they are doing a lot of diagnosis, analysis, and prognosis on what they have to do to be able to get Asante Kotoko back on top. But what a lot of people are not talking about is the fans and the crucial role that they play. That should be part of the conversation, I think, going forward.
But I mean, I think in Kotoko fans' defense, Kotoko fans are some of the most supportive fans I've seen in Ghana. I mean, I think that when there was a shortfall of like fans not going to stadiums and stuff like that, Kotoko fans were some of the only people who were still going a little bit before they also just said, I'm tired, I'm not going anymore.
Well, Kawa, it's very clear. The fans are passionate enough, but the point is, how many of them went to the stadium with their genuine cash? True. The Porcupine Tertiary at a point had to go to the stadiums because the team needed the support, so they virtually entered the stadium for free.
Wow.
Or the management had to facilitate for them to come because they needed those voices to push the players or egg the players on to win. Now, just like Oreko is saying, if you have a very good structure, if a fan knows that I am putting my money or I am saving my money or giving my money to Asante Kotoko, and then in the next 2 years, I am going to enjoy CAF Champions League quarterfinal or even the group stages or even the semi-finals, that fan will never decide not to pay. And that is the FABU census that I think they have registered not so many numbers. Now ask yourself, if Asante Kotoko had enough money or investment, and that comes from properly laid structures that manage to appreciate a very good revenue for every season, you get Kotoko maintaining or keeping some of the top gangs or top players that they have. Ask yourself, how much is Etuga taking where he is? He's not flourishing. He's taking around $5,000. If Asante Kotoko was able to pay someone like Etuga $5,000 for him to stay, if they were able to pay someone like Sonia Yakuba some money, if they were able to pay Ismail Ganiyu, if they were able to pay the likes of Maxwell Bakon, and even Kwame Bonsu during his time with Asante Kotoko, they would have had a very formidable team that could have played for a very good length of time and put Kotoko at that level. And even with them, they could have accrued more money to invest in other top players across Africa. Kotoko managed to bring Moise Party for free. They are paying him some good money. He's not a very bad goalkeeper. He's a very good goalkeeper when per the African standards. Imagine Kotoko had enough money to be getting some of these players from Mali, Senegal, and paying them some cool $3,000 monthly. You think Kotoko won't be able to play at that level, but it's all because of the non-existence of structures. The fan feels after 3 years, just like Nana Amponsa has laid down structures, we expected him to continue. He's going off. Who is going to continue? Are we going to start all over again from the basics? No, that is not it. And I hope that His Royal Majesty, after all these deliberations with the old players, will get to know that let's do this. Oreko was talking about the 500,000. It won't even be enough for the off season. They owe 3 million now. 500,000 will only just take 500,000 off, and we'll be left with 2.5 million. Where are they going to get the money? Imagine that the receivables are not paid. It will be rendered as bad debt. And that means Kotoko are not going to receive anything. Where are they going to get money to even plan for the new season? It means that there should be investment from maybe the king or the board that he sets up. The board started giving money right from the first season, all because of the pomp and pageantry. You know, they are already established. All they need is that self-actualization. Oh, come on, the prestige that comes with, being a Kotoko board member, they were given in their money. But in the final season, only 2 or 3 people contributed or gave money to Asante Kotoko. Why? Because they got fed up with it. And they would even ask themselves, if I am putting 1.4 million Ghana cedis, 2 million Ghana cedis in Asante Kotoko every year, what are my returns? Because the club is not for me.
Yeah.
The only return that comes is the prestige of Kotoko excelling. But ask yourself, are we excelling? And that is why when you have the structures and you have a very good investor, which I think Menshia or His Royal Majesty has that capability of investing hugely in the club, it's going to work. You cannot have someone like Emmanuel Dasoberi running your team administratively for you, and then you would have bad debts like Emmanuel Clote, Jetel Zakariasen, coming in with judgment debts, and then be getting or robbing Kotoko of useless decisions that they made, all because of the incompetence of certain people they employed.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if they do that, the club will get back to its glory days.
Kelvin, let me bring Joel into the conversation. Now, I mean, the last league season saw Mediama win the league. Hearts and Kotoko were nowhere to be found in the very top places. And you must admit that the league didn't particularly give us as much excitement as we would have wanted as sports journalists and as fans of the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah, last season, to be honest, I struggled watching games. And that's me being as honest and frank as possible, because I think if you're trying to sell a product, it must be attractive. If I want to buy Pepsodent, if the Pepsodent doesn't look good, I wouldn't buy it. If the Pepsodent too, I use it and it doesn't give me value for my money.
But
next
if you're going to buy the cube sugar, it doesn't look good, but you buy it. The box.
Which one? St. Louis.
The blue box.
That's a heritage box. Oh no. No, but you see, something. In fact, it's good you bring up the example.
Yeah.
Something like St. Louis has that heritage. It has that legacy with it. If something that's precious or passionate, that's something that is kept like it's historic, like St. Louis, it will still have value,
like Kotoko.
And that's what I'm coming to. It will still have value.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the sugar doesn't taste like sugar, you would stop buying it.
Well, that's true.
So that is what is happening to the league. If we are losing the taste, the flavor of it, then what's the point? Because what happens is, you look at what House of Folk did last season, and I would not be surprised if things completely change next season with House of Folk. All of a sudden they go down, they don't look like a club that is serious. That's after Samuel Wedu had left. Everything just looked like a mess. It tells you there's no structure, there's no direction. Everybody's making decisions based on what they feel. And that is what is happening in almost every club. And not to even talk of the fans, the finances, but just the way we approach it is the problem for me. If I am approaching something like the Ghana Premier League, it is now that we are trying to have the website. If I want information, data is key in this world right now. If I want information on the Ghana Premier League and I can't find it, trust me, would you go looking for anything from there? No. So it's for me, this is the problem that I had. And great work by Mediama. They've been able to win the league, but I hope that they do something with what they have now. They're able to progress. As for the guys that have been there and have won it, I'm hoping that they also make something out of what they have at the moment and become better. Haas now has money, thanks to World Cup money, but we all know it won't be enough.
No, but the World Cup money.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be enough. Yeah. But the thing is, if you are able to structure that money well and say, okay, I am not going to use 100% of that money to clear debt, but rather I am going to place it in various forms. That way you would be able to develop all around it by starting something. And that is what is most important. For me, education and infrastructure for Ghana Premier League clubs is what we need to even kickstart anything. So if we don't get that in place at the moment, we are not going anywhere.
Right.
The funny thing is that he was saying Mediama did well and he hopes they didn't do well.
I was just about to come.
They're not going to learn anything. Look, let me just put things into perspective. Mediama won the league. Out of a possible 102 points, they got 60. They dropped 42 points. That's equivalent to losing 14 games. Tell me which league in the world a team can afford to lose 14 games? 14. This is not even a 38 game league. 14 games, and you can still win the league with 5 points at the top of the table. This is shambolic.
Because other other clubs are worse off. And yeah, I was going to go to that same point because I remember a few weeks ago when we were wrapping up the entire season and we dealt with the Ghana Premier League, Oreku raised the very same points. I mean, everybody was happy that Midiama were able to break away, but on paper, it didn't really look that good because the quality of all the other clubs had diminished. And that's exactly what's happening to Kotoko. I mean, I wasn't born in the 70s or 80s, but even having been born in the 90s, you hear stories of how great they were competing for African titles, doing it so big. And then you're wondering, is that the same crop or is that the same, institution that you're seeing here? And then it gets a little worrisome. On the topic of the fans, we have hosted Warmer Plus different episodes. We've seen the passion that comes there. And it's not even just on the set in itself, but on social media, when we get interacting, a lot of people are interested in the club and are interested in seeing the club go as far as they can. But I think that a lot boils down to seeing the progress that can be made. People don't want to be buying tickets when they know that they can just stand on the fences and sneak in and everything will still remain the same. If they were actually paying for the tickets and seeing the results, maybe better facilities, you're getting like much more quality with your football, even just fan engagement and there are different activities that you can partake in. I think people will be encouraged more to be giving back to football for the returns that they would enjoy. I'm happy that the Otumfo has taken like this step. Like Kelvin was saying, it's quite a novel situation, but I think that part of solving the problem is being able to identify the problem in itself. So if you are being transparent and holding people accountable, you are laying out the score sheets, making it very clear that this is how much we owe, this is how much we are likely to get. If we don't get it, it's still a case of probabilities, but at least what we have so far, if we're able to channel it into the right projects. I don't think I agree with the piecemeal approach. Maybe you have like 500,000, whatever it is, put it into this, put it into this. But you are not helping anything. You'll be able to complete absolutely nothing. I think it makes more sense to direct it towards a few projects. If it's one or two that you are working towards in anticipation of whatever it is you are going to receive.
So in Kotoko's case, like the training pitch?
Exactly. And I mean, he's gone to inspect some of the grounds and things of the sort. If we are putting into that, then that works because a lot of the things that affect the playing body are the structures in itself, like Kelvin had said. A lot of people will be talking, there may be some differences within the camp. It would affect the training body, it would affect the team that is playing the game itself. But also with the structures, if you are not training properly, come on. What exactly are you going to do on the field? And that brings us exactly back to Reku's point, that the quality has diminished. How do you lose the number of games that he says, you lose and then you are still going to end up winning the league? It's because you are not facing as tough competition as you should be. The quality of all the clubs have diminished, including my precious Accra.
The thing is, I always hate to compare, but think of it. Liverpool lost one game and couldn't win the Premier League. They lost one game and couldn't win the Premier League.
Because we lose some games. No, I'm not saying we lost one game. I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying.
The one game is brutal.
That's not what I'm saying.
You know the key part about that Liverpool side? They brought in players and then the next year they won it by a very big margin. Asante Kotoko won the league a couple of seasons ago. They ended up losing their best players.
True.
How do you expect fans to even take you serious?
I mean, I think that's a bigger problem. The bigger problem is having to keep the players for a year, 2 years, 3 years, because exactly because the fans get accustomed to somebody. They love the person.
Fabio Gama.
And after a year, the person leaves. I mean,
I have a serious question to ask. Do we even know the type of league we are trying to run? Because if we think that we are on the level that should be competing on the African continent, then we are not serious. Okay, if we are running a developmental league, then that's a different question. So if you have a player like Fabio Gama, and let's say we are putting in the sense that it is a developmental league, then nobody will find a big problem in selling him to a bigger club and making revenue to develop. But if all other clubs are seeing themselves like, hey, we should probably make it to Africa. Sorry, but I don't want to. I'll use the club. Hasselhoff gets to Morocco, and then what happens? 8-0. Like, do you get what I'm coming for? You see yourself as you should be competing on that stage. Like, let's see where we are at the moment. We should be a developmental league at this point. And then see if we can groom the young talents here. And then from there we can see if we can make further.
And then make some money.
Yes. You rush, you get to Africa and it's embarrassing.
Exactly. So for me, I do not. And it's good she mentioned the point about the infrastructure, and that was what I was actually focusing on. When I said we should spread the money, it wasn't just for everything. But the key, and I mentioned two things: education and infrastructure. For me, if the Ghanaian Premier League clubs are focused on these things, it helps them even more. Because look at, and this is a good example. I know a club that doesn't have certain positions filled to now. They only have 8 working staff. Like employed.
A Premier League club.
Only
Right.
8.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are on like volunteering and all sorts of stuff. If you have just 8 key staff members employed, I don't know what you are trying to run, okay? Because I don't know what you want to achieve. Nobody will have even proper targets.
Yeah.
And it's difficult working with just 8 people and the rest are just doing what they like, secondary jobs and all of that. It's difficult. So for me, I think that we should look at these things and say, oh, if we are going to use the money, we should use it properly. If it's a project manager we need, if it is this that we need, is that we need, then we put it there and then it makes us better.
All right, great. You heard that from Joe Bote speaking about what we can do to promote the league, and we've been talking about Kumasi Asante Kotoko first of all, and a bit of Hearts of Oak, a bit of the Ghana Premier League. It's just a really big fruit salad of things that are not going well in Ghana, particularly the top clubs and also the main Ghana Premier League in itself. And we heard from Otumfuo Nanase Tutu II, who was speaking about Kotoko's many problems. He went through an audited report and was telling us how much the club owes and how much the club will potentially need to get themselves back on track again. Yesterday, he visited Adakojachi, Kotoko's training pitch, to also check on progress at the club's facility and seeing what they are going to do. He's now appointed Prosper Ogum as head coach, and then Kwesi Appiah also as something of a technical director to check what the technical board will be filled with and how Kotoko can get themselves back in the terms of football in itself, in footballing terms, before they can actually think of also the business side also of it. But Aniela, let me just bring you back in shortly on, just Kotoko. I mean, what do you think the king, Osei Tutu II, Otumfuo, what do you think he can also do as an individual? I mean, he's gone through audited reports. He started visiting. It has become a problem for him too. What can he also do?
He said it himself. The institution is kind of bringing him just on an all-time low. But I think, the most important thing for me is funding. I think that Oriko has echoed the same thoughts, because there's only so much you can do with your words. You can instill fear, you can rally people up together. But for somebody in his position, he can influence a lot of decisions. He can bring a lot of people on board. And so whether it's coming in the form of direct funding or, being in talks with certain people to get sponsorship on board for the club, I think that's an area that he's probably even working on as we speak. But again, I think it was quite important for him to just lay everything out there on the table like you've described and make everything as transparent as possible, because it's not a matter of he said, she said, this is what the report is saying, this is not what it's saying, but there's clearly something out there. We are getting the figures as they should be. So I think that it is a step in the right direction, but more money could come in. We're talking in terms of funding, we're talking in terms of sponsorship, and maybe even with himself, Otumfuo, I mean, he's a life patron of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and he's somebody that a lot of people like to see. Maybe once in a while, like he can just come and watch the game. Like me, say I go Kumasi go see.
Sheikh Mansour know they watch games. If Kotoko gets to the final
then it makes sense. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
Then he will be there.
Exactly.
But like. Look at all the success City have chopped. Sheikh Mansour only came to watch the Champions League final.
That one cries. It's because he had a business to do in Turkey. It was coincidence.
But look at the comparisons. Kotoko is not as successful anymore.
No.
So maybe once a year or once every 2 years.
They are both royals, and that's how royals handle.
I understand, Daddy. I understand.
Let's go to the phone lines now and then speak to my colleague Collins Atapoku, who's joining us from Kumasi. He's joining us from Kumasi just to, just take us through what's happening in Kumasi at the moment and shed some more light into what we are discussing here. Good evening, Ata, and you're welcome to Sports Ultras on 3FM.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing very well. And, Otumfuo himself, Nanase Tutu II, has gone through audited reports. He's been speaking about the state of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I mean, what can you also tell us as someone who is in a front row seat of what happens at Kotoko and in Kumasi?
Well, thank you very much. My regards to everybody in there and then to your listeners too. It's nothing different from what we've seen in the past. just that the politics this time around is quite intense. So you see people trying to spin the reports to make it look like there are debts, and then others also trying to make it look like, Asante Kotoko is run as a self-sustainable club and one that can actually cater for itself. It's the usual 3-year cycle you've become accustomed to that is repeating itself. There is a regime change, whichever way you look at it. Regardless of the fact that Emmanuel Newton Dasbury is part of the current IMC, there is a regime change. We had a board that had been duly constituted, metamorphosing from an executive chairman into a board, which brought in a management team led by Nanaya Omponsa. There are no more, the board is no more, but certain elements have been co-opted into the system. The Asantehene has gone through the report. He's tabled it to the traditional council who went through it. He had done broad consultation for over an 8-week period, culminating in conversations with people whom he felt could come in and spearhead an agenda that would see him put money into the club. And then also, like they say in Kumasi, those who are coming in to serve, the Golden Sword also bring in equity to help run the club. And then they felt that, looking at what has happened over the period, it must be better than the last regime that we saw in terms of raising money. And in fact, you can't take that away from the last regime. The last time Kotoko came this close to raising enough money from within to run the club was during Dr. Keke Sapon's administration. But let's be honest, there isn't a single football club here that could be self-sustainable on itself in the country, regardless of how you look at it. As Antonio had seen all this, the consultation started with the Chief of Staff, Kofi Bedu, who started speaking to relevant stakeholders in Kumasi. It extended to the nation at large, and then they started to find out what exactly the issue could be for continuity. I must confess, the issue for continuity was shut down by the intense bickering and backbiting that was in the board that has also played into the management. So it would interest you to know there are people within the board who were affiliated strongly to the management, and there were others in the board who felt that, this management isn't doing exactly what we would want them to do. And the intense internal politics reared its ugly head when both factions decided to go public with events that were unfolding in the day-to-day running of the club. How does this pan out? You remember carefully that when Dr. Che was executive chairman, he made some appointments at the administration level of the club. Rose Padmore, Lucy, Richard Osayakoto were all there. But their leader was the accountant, who was Mr. Puku, who was actually leading, and he was even appointed by Minsha. So when Thomas Sevoji, Emmanuel Dayton Dasbury, Nanaya Omponsa, and all these people came in, they had to co-opt these people and work with them. And information was certainly going to go out. Documents were going to fly around. So even from the wet start, we could see that the division was there. So Santini puts all these things together and then decides to consult lastly Ohini Brenya, who is from the Royal Home and is the team of the club, and then comes to the point where he says that, I genuinely feel that you would have to let this board go together with its management. So if you could see, the board actually overstayed its work for about 45 days after the expiration of their 3-year mandate.
Yeah.
And the king decided to consult again and said that, I'll need a new direction for this club. You know the funny thing, right after consultation, he decides to meet some of the stakeholders in public, the ACOPADA, from the Old Players Association, and then the National Circles Council. And after deliberations with them, he gave them a 30-minute break and then called his chief link with Bafo Kantankechi and then told him that they should tell him how he should run the club to make them better. He has took about an hour and 30 minutes of a break, and these two bodies were jaw-jawing, and they came back to the old format. And now Adaroma, so those that were pushing for what would have been a new model, who are the supporters and the old players, and also representing the current players, came up with a model that existed previously. And he felt that it isn't the way to go. So he would form an IMC and then get like he's been trying to do in previous years. And Royal previously was Sylvester Asari, so the current Bantamahene. This time around, it was the Kontomponia Ferrehine. Anewa, who took charge of the IMC, and then decided to get people from the various organs and also for continuity, get someone from the old management to come in. The distinctive thing with this current IMC is that over the years, we've seen IMC giving position to members of the National Circles Council. In 2003, when Professor Asari also led his first IMC, he had the then Ashanti Regional Circles Chairman, Kwadwo Nyantakyi, on the IMC. This time around, there is no circles representation, which for me is an indictment on how they've conducted themselves over the period. But there is from Akopa, and there is from Misha, there is from the old regime, and then there is from the new technical group that has been constituted to run the club. So 3 years down the line, a few skirmishes, Kotoko is back to start from afresh,
Wow.
but with an old model.
Wow. I mean, Atta, I think you've broken down what we really need to do. But I think that also from a fan's perspective, what do you think the fans themselves can do? I mean, I think that going to the tail end of last season, Kotoko fans were not really going to the stadium to watch games. The stadium was virtually empty at most games. Can they also put in their bit to get the club back on track again?
Yeah, it goes back to who is the fan of the club. We have new school fans and we have old school fans. It was the same king that looked at the constitution of the club and said, let's do away with it. And then empowered circles. He put them on boards, he's put them on management at every single point in time. This time around, it was the same circles that he called and asked, so what do you want me to do? The old school fans went to the old school solutions. Then there are new school fans who are mostly telling you, look, we are paying for booth sensors, we are going to the stadium, we are paying for virtual seats, and we must have a voice, we must be heard. But unfortunately, we cannot be heard. The official voices to be heard are the circle. They decided to take matters into their hands, go to the Adakoja training grounds with placards, billboards, and all sort of flyers, trying to show the king that, look, they want Nana album to stay and all that, and the politics that it comes from it. Now, there's something we need to understand. These fans needed to consult the right people in Kumasi, and now you know the right people here are the kings and queens. They are the people that you can use to get to him.
Yeah.
You know what? Kwame Chiri represents a very powerful bloc in Kumasi now.
Mm-hmm.
A bloc that is represented in every facet of Kumasi's social and political life. His direct brother is the Agek Nzimahini, Sanan Kansa Budwaya,
Yep.
who is that close to the palace and wields a lot of economic and political influence. This group of people are from the Efija area in Abuna and Wiamwasi, where despite and a lot of the bigwigs come from. So it would have been difficult for the king to humiliate him in public, to bring back Nanaya Amponsa and then scorn the rest of the people here. I mean, it wasn't going to be well. So he has to please all factors and then look at a new direction for the club. And this time around, he's decided to entrust that two old players, represented by Opokunti and Kwesi Appiah, with Kwesi Appiah getting the nod to be on the IMC. So our edge, our new school fans, that this is for the interim, but for the proper direction and proper model change or continuation, they should keep engaging the relevant kings and queens in the kingdom, and then also some of the influential Akopa members, especially Papa Ako, the last CAF Champions League winning captain. He wields a lot of influence at the palace currently, together with Kwesi Appiah and Opokunti.
Right. Thank you so much, Collins Atapoku, for joining us this evening here on Sports Ultras, right here on 3FM 92.7. But let's get you also on the phone and share your thoughts on what's happening in Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the moment. Join us 055-92 42717 055-9242-717 and 055-6910-154 055-6910-154 and 055-924-2717 2717. And joining the conversation right here on Sports Ultras on 3FM 92.7. Kelvin, we've heard everything Atapuku has said.
Yeah.
And I would want to just move on the conversation now to just talk about the Black Queens a bit.
Yeah.
They did a good job. Over 2 legs, 7 goals, which is hugely impressive. What are your thoughts on the Black Queens? Is this the team that would qualify Ghana to the Olympics?
Well, I think it's a very pretty team, very dominant team with all the wonderful players that we've seen in the last 2-3 years come together. You know, it's a squad or it's a team that has experience. It's a team that has youthful exuberance. It's a team that has individual brilliance brilliant players in there. And I think they have a very good coach who wants to combine all these forces, and they make a very solid team. You know,
right.
Anytime you want to see a team perform and you have all these aspects in there, it makes a very good and wonderful team. And you know, you cast your mind back to 2006, a mix of youth and experience. 2010, a mix of youth and experience. 2008 during the African Nations Cup, a mix of youth and experience. 2015 African Nations Cup, a mix of youth and experience and quality at that time. And I think it's been impressive. You know, many are asking questions why this team. Yes, we are hailing them. You know, these are sides that you expect any other Black Queens coach or Black Queens team to defeat. But the most positive thing about them is their pattern of play.
Right.
It's been brilliant. It's a well-drilled side.
Yeah.
And they are not conceding.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen the Black Queens play?
You know when you talk about conceding, you want me to say something?
Exactly. So I think that is the most impressive part. And I think I am very happy seeing this. It's an all-round team to the point that Hazaka's ladies, Firdaus Mohammed, from all her difficulties, comes on board or comes into the team in the second half and manages to bang a goal.
Yeah.
The real test will come from the Moroccans, the Zambians, the South Africans, the Cameroonians, whom even the last time we struggled to defeat. But I think from what I have seen and the commitment of these ladies who are playing so well in and outside Ghana, this is a team that can probably make that game, the 2024 Olympic Games. We've seen the Zambians play at this World Cup, and the way they were walloped in the second half by Japan, I think there shouldn't be any team that we should struggle to.
But before I go, I just wanted to add on to what Kelvin has said. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about playing with a goal or playing with a structure. That's why I think what Kelvin said was really important, because we look at this Black Queen setup and you can see where their style of play is going. They've been able to organize themselves, that they have something that they're identified for. Yeah. But I mean, some of our other teams, we just leave it to God.
Which of the other teams? Come on, can answer that question. Come and sit down and answer that question.
But like as I said earlier, you can join us on the phone. It's 055-924-2717. 055-924-2717 and 055-61-10154. Just join us and let's share your thoughts on Kumasi Asante Kotoko and also on the Black Queens, on how good they've been. Oyeku, talk about the Black Queens.
Well, I think it's been more than 20 years since we went to the Olympic Games. Very similar to that of the Black Meteors as well. But for the Black Queens, I think 2004, the Athens Games, they lost narrowly in the final qualifier on penalties against Nigeria, and then 4 years later they lost again to Nigeria in the qualifiers. And 2012 was a bit more embarrassing, where I think we were beaten by Ethiopia, and then 2016 we lost to Cameroon. 2020 we got knocked out by Kenya. And so I think apart from Nigeria, if you look at the caliber of teams that have prevented us from heading into the Olympic Games, that brings me to my point of, the amount of talk going around that we are not facing the big teams and blah 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 blah. Look, you're seeing we've been knocked out by Ethiopia, Kenya, and even to some extent Cameroon. The Black Queens have suffered. Look, we talk about the Black Stars struggling and being in a very bad place right now. Look, if this is a bad place, then you don't even want to think about what the Black Queens have been through. It's taken them so much to get to this level again. And so I think, first off, they deserve to be celebrated. The fact that we live in a country where there's a lot of results-based analysis and the team is just assumed to be doing well when they are winning. But this time, they're not just winning. They are dominating games. And there is a process to how they are playing, creating chances and all that. And if football was even to be fair, they are expected to score a lot more goals than we are seeing right now.
Eric, not to cut you, but we have a caller on the line. Hello?
Yeah, but Kotoko Assembly na person me
Mebacho Charadjin. Yeah, you're from San Free.
Me didn't kodo me free Kumasi.
Kumasi, Mebacho Charadjin.
Kotoko ni ge. Politics in them why you. She said nana ya fonzaba. No abaye nyama bebre amakotoko. Na still na obi wo ho a meni nti say Kotoko bekos nti yengi nti. She I was in she nima bi wo krom ha. I was say yes said that. Oh, yes said that near ye enyoma ebema Ghana football akọ. She Kotoko continue ko Africa. Koto continue ko Africa. Make us in the Mario. Because anka Kotoko ko Africa, anka yini na yini beji. Na Kotoko kwa. Oh, no problem. Think. Na you continue to kwa nitimi. And then we aba, otina we aba. Emwa. Nti otu for version wa ebibia, ebibi mbwa na. Because Kotoko de odamakuma. Ne ko stadium krache. E wose me na. Oh, team we win, team ni kuswa. It's Mapu Stadium.
But also call.
I know the team is so too. There was a Nico. But I was a team also upon a home model. Let me go stadium and maybe a good stream now.
Matthias here. Thank you so much for calling us. You can call us on the lines 055-924-2717 and 055-69-10154 and share your thoughts on what we are discussing today, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and also the Black Queens. Oriku, you're talking.
Yes, I was saying that there's a process attached to how the team are playing. They're creating chances. They're playing beautiful football. This is a team that, as I said, they've not qualified for the Olympic Games for more than 20 years. The last time they qualified for the World Cup was in 2007. We hosted the last two editions of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, where, can you imagine, as host, we got knocked out at the group stages. And the next edition was cancelled. And I think the next AFCON 2 that was played, we also got knocked out.
We have another call on the line.
Today they beat power.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Nana, calling from Osu.
Nana from Osu. Nana, share your thoughts, please.
I want to talk about the Black Queens.
The Black Queens, okay.
Yeah, people are saying it's early days yet, but I don't think it's just early days yet. They've shown, glimpses of proper football.
Right.
Like the structure is there. They know what they are about, and then the coach also knows what she wants the players to do. So I think there is more room for improvement, but they've shown that they can get the job done when it matters, just like they did over the 2 legs against Guinea. So
great.
When you get to the top teams,
yeah,
we might struggle a bit, but
you're hopeful.
We are hopeful. I'm hopeful we can win, but we can't just throw away what we are building so far because we've not played the top people yet.
Right. Okay. Now, Nana, what local club do you support?
I'm a Kotoko fan.
You're a Kotoko fan, but why have you declined? Yeah. Why have you not? Why have you decided not to talk about Kotoko?
It's stressful. Like supporting Kotoko is stressful. You are in a team, and last season there were many draws. Games that we could have won. Yeah. And then you check the scoreline and it's a draw. So it's stressful. So now we are trying to move away a bit from.
Right. But just get back. Just get back.
Better, you will be back.
Get back to supporting your club again. You heard that from Nana, who called us from Osu, and you can also call us on the line 055-924-2717 and 055-69-10154. Oriku, back to you.
Yeah, so I'm saying they hosted the AFCON in 2018, got knocked out of the group stages.
Yeah.
The next edition was cancelled, but the most recent Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, we didn't even qualify. From being knocked out in group stages, now he didn't even qualify for the next tournament. Right. And so we had hit rock bottom. For a coach to come in, take this team, pick young players from the princesses, put her faith, in a 20-year-old goalkeeper.
Hold on. Hello. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Kobna. I'm calling from the United States.
Okay. Kobna, let's go.
Yeah, so I heard you guys talking about Kotoko.
Yes.
So are we talking about Kotoko? You're talking about Ghana football.
No, we're talking about Kotoko, but you can't take Kotoko out of Ghana football, and so there's just a bit of Ghana football in there. But I think that right now we are talking about the Black Queens. We spoke about Kotoko earlier, a bit of Ghana football with the league, and now we are talking about the Black Queens.
Okay, let me summarize everything.
Okay.
So with Ghana football, I think Ghana is in the decline right now. Like your colleague said, we need real investment. So Ghana is in decline, and the health of Ghana football is determined by the quality of the league that we are playing in Ghana.
Right.
And the executive committee, the executive committee of Ghana football have got a misplaced priority. They are only concentrating on the Black Stars. And that we have to concentrate on the league and make sure the league is viable and is attractive for the supporters of Kotoko, the supporters of Accra of Hope to go into the stadium. I quite remember when we were young, when I was in the 90s, in the 2000s, we all sneaked into Accra. Anytime Kotoko played, anytime Accra played, the stadiums were filled. Now it's not, because everybody is now watching the Premier League, the La Liga. So the duty of the GFA is to make the Ghanaian league attractive.
Right.
So, like I said, you guys should put in the effort and get this guy removed from office. The GFA president is not doing anything. His core responsibility is to make Ghanaians attractive to go into the stadium. So if he's not doing that, then he hasn't achieved anything. Now let me come to Kotoko.
Kamna, can you please summarize the Kotoko bit for me, because there's another call on the line.
Yeah, I'll summarize the Kotoko. I'll summarize the Kotoko bit.
Okay.
The model they used in the 80s and in the 90s cannot be the same model as Atapuku said in this era. You know, the situation where the king, the club belongs to the king, he doesn't put any investment in it, right? It's like a figurehead, and then he puts in people to come and do the job. It's not good. What we need to do is we either have to sell the club. We need to sell the club to an investor, a rich person, right? Or put it on the stock exchange and let the people of the Asante region buy stocks, and then they appoint their own CEO, and then they run it like a professional club.
Right.
That's the only way Kotoko can compete in Africa. Other than that, the scenario where he's the figurehead, he doesn't put any money in it, it cannot work.
Right.
It can't work.
Right. Right, Kamna, thank you so much. Kamna, which states are you calling us from?
The junior. And let me make the last point about the Black Queens. The Black Queens, what is working for the Black Queens, what is working for the Black Queens is the coach,
Yeah.
And we are very fortunate to have that kind of coach who goes around and selects based upon equal opportunity. He doesn't look at your faces.
Yeah.
He selects you based upon your performance and what you've done, your achievement. And that's good for us. And I believe when we give him time, in the next 5 years, the Black Queens will be on the top.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kobna. Kobna called us from the United States. It's another caller. Hello, you're welcome to Sports Ultras on 3FM 92.7.
Thank you. My name is Ernest. I'm calling from...
Your name is?
Ernest.
Ernest.
I'm calling from Ibri.
Ernest from Ibri. Ernest, please share your thoughts.
Hello? My name is Ernest. I'm calling from Ibri.
Yes, please share your thoughts, Ernest.
Okay, I want to contribute on this Kotoko issue.
Yeah.
I think that it is time for the Asante Hime is made to run the club from his palace, and he should get the chiefs involved. And because anytime they give it to, they appoint new people, they are unable to manage it. So let's try from the chieftaincy side and see if that part will work. Because they've been appointing people all the time, and they keep on disappointing the fans. So I think maybe when the chiefs are involved, maybe they can do better than what
Ernest, thank you so much for your submission. And this is still Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. We're discussing Kumasi Asante Kotoko and also the Black Queens. The Black Queens' impressive performance against Guinea. They beat them by 7-0 on aggregate. There's another call on the line. Hello, you're welcome to Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7.
This is Ogawan from Temanuka.
Ogawan, how are you feeling?
I'm good.
Right, share your thoughts.
See,
Ghana football, unless we take politics out of it, that is where we will be okay. Because I remember Senegal 92.
Yeah.
You know why I will not forget it? I have to steal coconut and go and sell to go and watch that match. Do you know the television I watched the match on?
Black and white, eh?
Black and white with car battery.
Wow.
Look, that time, even old ladies, I was very young then, but I stayed awake to watch that match. You know why? By then, there was nothing politics in it. See, EPL, not even EPL alone, all the leagues in Europe, the place where the club is found, the people over there rep their state, their city. And that is what keeps those leagues up. If we don't do that, and we always put political colors first, that is what we are going to see, and we will think more than this. Because I watched Ghana Black Star playing. Ghana Black Star was about to score. Someone said they should not score because if they score and qualify, Mahama will be bragging that he qualified for the World Cup. So with this kind of mentality, how do you want this country's football to develop? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ogawan. Ogawan called us from Tema Newtown. You're still listening to Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. And Oreku, maybe this time around you can finish.
Let me make a point really quickly. Yeah. So I mean, if you're coming from a point where you even failed to qualify for the AFCON and you're now winning games 5 in a row, you're beating the likes of Benin, Senegal, and then Guinea. I think it's a good step. At least it's a climb upwards, and they should be praised. They should be encouraged. Of course, I think Nora she's well sounded and she understands her environment, and definitely these praises are not going to get into her head. She admitted that it's a process and they are taking it step by step, and qualification is the end goal. But she's looking at how they develop and increase their capacity incrementally as the games go by. And I mean, I think that's a good sign of a good coach. Clearly, everything we see now is a coach who is ready to provide the youth with opportunity, play her best players, and also bold enough to have a strategy mapped out for different oppositions that they face.
All right. So this is still Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. We are back after this. Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7, and we're moving away. Let's jet off now to Europe and talk some transfer news right here on the show. But before we talk transfer news, there's a debate here today, and I just need my debaters today. Maybe Joel gets to debate today because he's new. He's joining us for the first time. So Joel and who?
Oh, bring Yao. Can you? My track record is too good.
This guy.
You cannot. You sign a Peron and you say you should face Kevin De Bruyne.
This guy.
Hey,
Okay,
Charlie.
So Oreku says he doesn't want Joel in the
He fear me.
He doesn't want Joel in the debate. Yeah. And so we brought in Yao Ampofo to face Oreku in the debate today. The debate question is simple. Is Onana a major improvement on David De Gea? That's the debate. Who is going for and who is going against?
Hey.
Oh, make we flip coin.
Yeah, maybe we should flip coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the referee for today.
Oreku, where are you taking? Coat of arms or what?
You give me the coat of arms.
Coat of arms there. Yeah, I'll take the other side.
He doesn't ask him.
So if you win the toss, well, you pick your side.
Yeah, you pick your side. You get to pick your side.
Hey, I thought for more. Hey, all right. So very cool. Coat of arms.
Coat of arms. Very cool. Choose your side. Are you for or against?
I'm for the motion.
You are for the motion.
Yes.
So you are for the motion that Onana is a major improvement on the hair.
Yeah.
So you are arguing against.
Yeah.
How many minutes, timekeeper?
Well, let's give them 2-2.
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Initial.
2 minutes too long.
Okay, 1 minute 30.
1 minute. 1 minute 30 each. Okay.
Yes.
So who's going first?
Hey, for the emotional words.
Yo, you won the toss.
Yeah.
So Oreku, you are going first.
No, he's chosen. Okay.
Yeah.
He's chosen. Okay, yeah.
So you won the toss. So he chose for the motion.
Yeah, for the motion.
So if you're listening to us, this is still Sports All Stress right here on 3FM 92.7. And today the debate topic is simple. Is Onana a major improvement on David De Gea? Oreku Ampofo is arguing for the motion. And then Yao Ampofo is arguing against the motion. Oreku, your time starts now.
And so, good evening, honorable adjudicators, members of the opposing team, chairman, and to my audience out there. Shout out. Yeah. You know, this debate is too easy. I can afford to waste 10 seconds. You send both in 200 meters. But yeah, I mean, I think Onana is a clear upgrade on David De Gea. David De Gea is a fantastic goalkeeper, but Onana is coming in based off the trust that Erik ten Hag has for him. He's worked with him at Ajax, and he believes that he's the missing piece to his defense, and most importantly, how the team wants to play. No matter the ideas that he has, no matter how you want to play football as a coach in modern football, everything starts from your goalkeeper. And with Onana, they do have one of the best when it comes to moving the ball to the back in the world. We saw it at Inter Milan, where he sort of revolutionized how they played last season, and that led them to the Champions League final, where they were just, if it wasn't for Lukaku, they could have been worthy champions. So I think he comes in as a goalkeeper who is close to complete, because aside from using his feet, he's very sharp with his hands as well. Kept 7 clean sheets in the Champions League for Inter Milan last season, and he's a good shot stopper as well. So I think he's going to improve Manchester United aerially. You have a keeper now who now come for crosses, who can now contribute to play and actually help them play from the press and transition quickly. And then they also have a leader at the back, someone who is very, very experienced. Look, when this guy went to Cameroon, he was scoring goals as a striker. He's a player who can come in and even teach the strikers how to score goals. He's a leader, captain, experienced.
Time up.
Next time you waste 10 seconds.
So, Yao Ampofo, you are arguing against the motion. The debate topic is Onana a major improvement on David De Gea? You just heard Oreku Ampofo, and he just argued for the motion that Onana is better. Yao, against. Your time starts now.
I'll skip the introduction and get straight to the point. Now, football is basic, and you need everyone to do the basic things to be able to, let the teams flourish. Again, we are looking at the primary functions of individuals within teams. Now, the primary function of David De Gea in Manchester United will be save balls. I understand that modern football will require certain, new roles that will ask goalkeepers to pass from the back. But again, it's not their primary function. You look at consistently Manchester United over the past 5 seasons, and their best player has been David De Gea over the time. So we are looking at bringing someone who is new to the terrain. And we look at goalkeepers in the Premier League. Look at the errors leading to goal for the goalkeepers who are playing from the back. And look at Onana's errors leading to goal. Well, he's not the finest goalkeeper in the Serie A when it comes to saves, because he's ranked 8. You look at the finest goalkeeper, the top 5 finest goalkeepers in the Premier League. And as, again, the primary function, David De Gea is one of those goalkeepers, and he's been the best goalkeeper for the past 5 seasons. Goalkeeping is the role. So David De Gea is doing basically that. Well, it's one thing to understand the manager's point, but it's another thing to look at all the factors coming together. And I don't think the issue of Manchester
Time. Yes, and so today the judges for tonight, Joe Bote and Kelvin Owusu-Ansah are the judges. They are going to be doing the judging. You just heard Yao Ampofo. He's made his points clear. Yao Ampofo says a goalkeeper's basic job is to save balls. He and David De Gea does that, and so he's fine. Oreku says Onana is sharp with the feet, sharp with the hands, and so he is the better one. Kelvin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that Yao argued better because yes, he made mention of the salient points that yes, a goalkeeper's basic job is goalkeeping, and then and he does that better. David De Gea does that better. Wait, young man,
I can't choose a judge. A judge I beat you a month ago. Young man, that's bias.
and Yao also made a very salient point that if you look at shot stopping and you rank the goalkeepers at David De Gea, it's a better shot stopper. So if you are going for a goalkeeper who concede more goals than the one you have sold, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so I think Yao has made a very cogent argument, and I go for him.
You go for Yao?
Yes.
Wow. Joe?
Yeah, I'm also going for Yao, and I think Oriku was too complacent. He felt he had everything set.
Yeah.
If you listen, young man, let me learn.
They're saying everything but their arguments.
Wait.
Who greeted you? Me, I greeted you. The guy skipped.
Oh no, he skipped. I'll have my turn. Yeah.
Focusing on the debate, I think Oriku didn't bring out facts. He only spoke
he
about.
brought out facts. He spoke about he spoke about the clean sheets
and what else?
And Onana's job as a goalkeeper. I mean, passing from the back and all.
But he didn't back it with. He didn't back it.
Which data should I use to show you that he's one of the best ball playing goalkeepers? What do you want to see?
Yeah.
If you listen to the way Yao argued,
Okay, Judge, go on.
He backed it up by saying, okay, if you look at the goalkeepers in Serie A, this is where Onana ranks due to this. You look at the goalkeepers in the Premier League, and he mentions why De Gea is where he is. So if we are talking about who's going to make the most impact, and you compare to both of them, and he's able to bring these two in comparisons, you are able to understand better and get a clearer picture. And I think that's what helped me in getting who was the best out of this debate.
Wow. So you heard from the two judges, and I mean, first of all, I think that one thing that we need to state on this panel is that you have to greet
exactly that one,
the chairman and the panel of judges.
Thank you.
But I think this time around the panel.
But
of judges
Oriku disrespected us by telling us that he can use this. Young man, what do you mean? Now you come to my office, you are telling me, give me time, I'm coming.
So I mean, I am going to sit this one out because I had my problems with David De Gea, and so it will feel like because I have problems with him, I'm going against him. And so my judges, Kelvin, you went for Yao.
Yes.
Joe, you also went for Yao.
Yeah. Yes.
Oriku, you've lost your title. How do you feel?
Oh, I'll take it to cash.
For the appeal.
Oh, sorry, this is unappealable.
but yeah, so we just have about 8 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah.
Let's just get into the club friendlies that were played. Joel, let me start with you. Chelsea Brighton. Were you impressed with what you've seen? This is an entirely new Chelsea midfield going into the new season. You've seen 2 games from them.
I would be very honest and say I love this game. Not just the way Chelsea played, but the way both teams played. It felt like a Premier League game, and I think Ben Chilwell made a comment like that, which we saw on social media, which is true because both teams were playing like they were fighting for something.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way Brighton played,
No, you guys have history.
oh yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
but I like the way Brighton pressed us. They gave us a reason to want to do something with the game, and I was really impressed. Even after they went a man down, they still kept fighting, and that tells me that look, there's more to come. This is what we are going to expect when we get into the Premier League and when fitness is at its peak.
Yeah.
But what I love more about Chelsea is the way we created opportunities up front with different personnels. We saw the youngsters, the kids come in and show that they also want to do something with this team.
Yeah.
Angelo and the likes. Nkunku and Jackson will be where problems or let me say Pochettino will have a headache because he wouldn't be sure who to start at the moment.
Oh, Masa.
Mudryk, a young man. You know what I mean? Mudryk is another. I am impressed with the way he started already. It tells me he really wants to show that what we saw last season was totally different. And I'm really glad that with the midfield that you mentioned, even though Chelsea do not have the experienced players yet, they have a young core who they can call on in crucial times of the season, because we all know how the Premier League is. It gets packed as the season goes. So I really like what I'm seeing. Maybe a few players would have to go on loan. I'm expecting a player like Chukwuemeka to go on loan. I feel he needs to work more.
You just find another club.
Oh,
I don't know why you people try to do this loan thing. It's not working. Can you go?
No, you grow. But I'm really impressed with the midfield, and I think Enzo is also finding his feet gradually. Even though we've seen him do extraordinary things in the Premier League last season, I'm expecting more this season.
He didn't do anything extraordinary. Oreku,
haters go hate.
Your thoughts on Chelsea Brighton?
I think participating in the summer series of the Premier League is a good decision, because you look at the caliber of teams, the likes of Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, and these are the sort of teams that usually can potentially take points away from you. So it's a good marker for Chelsea, who I think this preseason is really important to them on a personal level, because they do have a new coach who's coming in, and they have a lot of players who are now coming into the team as well. So it's unlike clubs like Manchester City, Arsenal, who can afford the luxury of a lot more testing in their preseason phase. Pochettino knows that he has limited time, because he plays Liverpool in just a few weeks, and so from the off you can see the seriousness attached. In the first game that I saw against Wrexham, he was clearly agitated at halftime. Why did the referee stop the game when his team was on the counter-attack? And some would say it's only just a friendly, but it just gives you an idea of the seriousness that Pochettino has put into this tour of the United States, and there's something that he wants to get. I think aside physically conditioning his team, the most important thing for him is to learn more about his players, because he's supposed to come up with a starting 11 against a Liverpool team in the next few weeks. And I think that's the purpose of this preseason. So far, we've seen a number of variations to how his team wants to play, but one attribute that we're seeing, run throughout all of these systems, is that intention to play the ball vertically. They always want to make sure they're outnumbering opponents in the middle, forming a diamond, creating sharp triangles and moving the ball in the middle. And so that's a good thing. And we saw them, scoring that yesterday with Cucurella finding Jackson and all that. So it's been good signs for Chelsea under Pochettino. But then the lining fact is that it's just preseason.
Right.
We've seen teams impress in this phase, and the season starts and everything just runs away. So it's good not to also get carried away, but early signs have looked good under the Argentine coach.
Right. Now, Chelsea have a few more fixtures to go through before they take on Liverpool on August 13. They're playing Newcastle on the 27th of July. They'll play Fulham on the 30th of July, and then Borussia Dortmund on Thursday, the 3rd of August, before they play Liverpool on the 13th of August. That is some fixture schedule they have there. But let's move on now to yesterday's game as well. Kelvin, what's your say? Man United, Arsenal.
Well, I think there's a very big message to Mikel Arteta. If he doesn't know what he's going to do, he shouldn't just play this season. Yesterday, judging from what he decided to do, it means that he doesn't even know his team and which areas he had to strengthen. Everyone who watched the Arsenal team last season knew that Arsenal needed a proper centre forward, and then a left back. Zinchenko isn't your ideal left back that you want in the Premier League defensively, because if you have Gabriel Martinelli running the lines, you don't need any other player to be joining that attack uselessly. And Zinchenko can play in midfield fine, but just make sure you seal that position on the left. Right. Why is he tinkering with his midfield? And the answer he gave after the game. If they play 55 times, that is between Kai Havertz, Rice, and then Odegaard. It's going to get better. Is he making sense out of it, or he was trying to be sarcastic? If he was trying to be sarcastic out of anger of losing the game, fine. But he shouldn't dare come and play that useless trio again. Kai Havertz is not going to help Arsenal as a starter. He should stay on the bench. It would be better to play Leandro Trossard in that team than playing Kai Havertz. Just decide to play your midfield of bringing Declan Rice as a replacement for the departed Granit Xhaka. And I think Arsenal are good to go.
Right.
And you know the bullshit that he trying to tell us that he cannot play.
Kelvin, come on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry to who?
I'm sorry to Mikel Arteta, to the audience, to our listeners.
Calm down.
He shouldn't come and play Gabriel Jesus as center for and push the likes of Folarin Balogun and then Nketiah to the flanks. It doesn't make any sense at all. And you know, today we spoke about Kotoko and borrowing the words of former Kotoko executive chair, Dr. Keke Sapon. He should mind his selection and tactics. For Manchester United, I think, yes, from what we saw, a very good team, very excellent team. The first half was brilliant. Second half was a bit lackluster, but I think United decided to manage the game. But they have patches of brilliant players in there whom I think that going into the season that is just around the corner, they are going to do better. And I think Erik ten Hag just knows what he's working at. And good for him, but the season itself will prove how good it is. But
we'll see how
but if you defeat Arsenal with Kobe Mainoo and the likes in midfield, I think it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Well,
See, let me just
let me go to Arsenal's fixtures before. Arsenal have to play Barcelona
They will beat us.
July 27, and then they'll play Monaco on August 2. That's the Emirates Cup
We'll
final.
beat them.
And then the Community Shield is on the 6th of August.
Haaland will score us. That's one.
Joe, we just have a few minutes to wrap up. So please, we actually need to wrap up now. But I'll just steal 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Quickly, let me say this. Arteta is very funny. He's giving me that coach vibes where you've not had money to spend for... No, sorry, the club is giving me that vibe where they've reached a point in their whole plan when now the money is there, baby, and then they just want to sign anybody because trust me, there's no way you are signing Havertz for that amount of money. And secondly, Arteta is giving me Lampard vibes. If you remember, Lampard also wanted a midfield of Rice, Havertz, Mount, and that kind of thing, playing double eights, attacking eights. See, this is the Premier League. Physicality is what they use in midfield. Liverpool can play a whole season and then their midfield trio has not scored that many goals, having created so many chances, but yet the team is scoring. It's because they have a very robust midfield. That is how the Premier League works. If you're going to play Havertz, watch what he did against United. He couldn't even follow Bruno for 2 minutes. And you want to maintain such a midfield, you are going to suffer. If Arsenal want to drop in the table, because now every club has improved, it's not going to be like last season, you should watch his midfield.
Yeah, let me end with you. Quick one.
Yeah, I think I'll side with Arteta because team will need time to gel. And every manager will want to experiment as many as possible, as much
55 times, please.
Maybe not 50.
How many matches do we play next
Maybe
season?
not 55.
55.
Maybe not 55 times like every like he suggested. But you look at the bottom end of last season, Arteta tried Partey at the right back row, so maybe he wants to experiment. It's quite typical of Pep Guardiola in preseason as well. So if Arteta wants to experiment with the midfield, then he will know the consequences before the season starts.
Now, just a quick one on Manchester United's fixtures as well before we go. They have to play Real Madrid, Dortmund, they'll play Lens, and then they'll play Athletic Club in Spain before they take on Wolves on August the 14th. It's Monday night football. United hardly wins on Monday, but we'll see how they do in that game against Wolves on Monday the 14th of August. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you to Yahan Pofo, and you're welcome to Sports Ultras. And your first time you won the debates. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are waiting the decision from CAS next week. Frank took the evidence, so we'll take it.
So, Oreku, thank you also for joining us, and Kelvin, thank you for another session. Joel, your first time as well. Thank you all for joining me. Next week we are back on your radio with another exciting edition of the show. Stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. There's more.